Hi everyone, this is Yana Smakula sharing a new video tutorial for Altenew. Today I'm going to focus on outline stamps that are designed to be colored, but I'm going to use a slightly different, easier, and non-traditional method to add color to those images. I used to be one of those people who was intimidated by outline images that are designed to be colored, as I had absolutely no coloring skills. So I simply never treated myself to stamps like that, as I was afraid I wouldn't be able to use them in my crafting. And I'm sure there are a lot of people like that out there. You're not alone. In this video, I'm going to show you a ridiculously easy way to color outline images using ink from your ink pads. You don't even need to have any markers, any pencils, or anything extra. I'm going to start working by heat embossing a few butterflies from Altenew onto white non-watercolor paper. This is Nina Solar White, my go-to paper for stamping. I heat embossed my images, but if you wanted, you can simply stamp yours using a waterproof ink. We will be adding water to these later, and we will need to make sure the ink will stay put. After I have a few images embossed, I'm going to cut them out using matching dies. I always find it best to have a couple extra images on hand, so if I'm making one card, I'll have 2 or 3 butterflies just in case I mess one of them up. This way, I don't have to go back to my stamping and re-stamp those if something goes south. I'm going to work on a clear block to do my coloring. I'm going to use the surface of a clear block as a mixing surface for my inks. You need to use something that doesn't absorb anything, so a clear block, a piece of plastic, a page protector, something that will resist water and ink. I'm going to wipe my clear block clean as I know I have some leftover ink there and I do not want to have any ink transfer onto my ink pads. Once it's clean, I can go ahead and apply ink onto my clear block and prep the ink mix. So I'm going to color my butterflies using ink from the ink pads. You can also go direct to paper. You can use your ink pads to apply ink directly to the die-cut butterfly, but if you apply a few colors, you won't be able to blend them. You will have a very saturated color, the most vibrant color from the ink pad that you can possibly have, and you will also end up using more ink. Now, on the other hand, if you add ink to a resistant surface like a clear block, you will be able to mix several colors together. You will be able to add water and make some areas lighter and some areas darker, and you will end up using much less ink from your ink pads for this. The trick here to prevent ink contamination is to start with the lightest color. Add it to 1 or 2 spots on your clear block. Next, add medium color again to 1 or 2 spots, and you can even overlap them a bit if you want to. And then add the darkest color. Again, overlap the darkest color with the medium and the lightest color if you want. If you go from light to dark, you will not contaminate your medium and dark ink pads. Well, you will contaminate them just like teeny tiny bit, but it won't show. You will never know that you contaminated them. But if you go from dark to light, you will end up having a huge spot of dark ink on your medium and lightest ink pads. So go from light to dark. Next, add some water to the clear block. Just spritz some using a water spritzer. Let the ink travel and mix a bit. Place your die cut on top and watch the magic happen. You can also spritz the die cut itself, and I really like to do that too. If you make the die cut wet, it will take in less ink, and again the ink will blend more easily and will travel a little further. As I press down onto the die cut, you can see the ink traveling and being absorbed into the paper. Lift it up, press down some more, and check if you like the result. Here I instantly have a few spots of different intensity, and I also have a few spots that didn't pick any color at all. This happened due to the heat embossing. The raised edges prevented the ink from traveling everywhere. If your die cut was stamped and not heat embossed, the ink would have covered it better and would have traveled further. Now I think that this looks great as is, but I want to add some more color. So I'm going to press this die cut onto my clear block again, onto the areas where I still have some ink. Don't be afraid to do that. If you mess it up, you still have some spare die cuts and you can always start over. This is sort of like a watercolor technique without the use of any watercolor mediums. I actually think I spent like an hour and a half playing with my butterfly die cuts and Altenew inks, experimenting and mixing colors. I actually ended up mixing different colors too. I was trying to see how that would work. It didn't work out well, but I'm glad I tried. Now, as you add color to your die cuts, and if you feel you do not have enough water there, go ahead and spritz some more water and press your die cut onto the clear puddle again and pick up some more color. Pretend you're an actual artist and use your fingers or a paintbrush to spread the ink around and help it move and just enjoy. Now, by using 3 colors of ink or 3 shades of ink, I was able to easily create a uniquely colored butterfly. Seriously, it was incredibly easy. And I encourage you to try this. You don't have to use a butterfly. Try some flowers, try some leaves, some other images too. You're going to love this technique. You can even do this vice versa. First, by creating a colorful background, and then by stamping and die cutting your images. Just make sure your background is dry before you stamp anything onto it and before you cut it. And this way, you won't even need to use waterproof ink. So for my next butterfly, I used yellow inks from Altenew and basically did the same thing. Added color to my clear block, added water, transferred ink onto the die cut. I also did a green butterfly and a not so pretty pink and yellow and green one. I was trying to see if those would work well together. Obviously, pink did not agree with the rest of the colors and it ended up looking a one big mess there. So I then set my butterflies aside and started working on my background for my cards. I love bold backgrounds done in black, and I knew I wanted to make a background like this for my projects. So I used a large love stamp from the Superscript 2 stamp set, and I stamped a diagonal background using black ink from Altenew. You can see I have a cheat sheet here to the right. I always practice first when I need to stamp backgrounds like this so that I don't waste any pretty paper. I just use printer paper for my practicing. So I'm stamping one line normally and the next line upside down. I'm doing this to have sort of like a fuller background. I don't know, it just felt better with the alternating upside down lines. I also connected the ends of the E and L letters to make it look like a one continuous word or a one continuous line. I think it actually looks like I wrote these myself, when in reality my handwriting isn't nearly as pretty. Now, I know a lot of people do not like bold backgrounds like this. If you're one of those people, then try using a non-black ink. So if I were to add a hot pink butterfly to this card, I would use a frost pink ink from Altenew to stamp the background. This is the lightest pink that they have. It would look very nice, but not nearly as bold. I also decided I needed to die cut a few butterflies out of vellum. I did not stamp the images, I only cut the shapes out. I used these to create multi-layered embellishments for my cards. So I layered 2 colored butterflies and added a vellum butterfly in between as an extra layer for my project to create some dimension. I've added these butterflies onto my bold backgrounds and then stamped a simple for you sentiment in black ink. So there you have it, a very easy way to add color to outline images that are meant to be colored. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below or in the blog post. If you like this video, if you'd like to see more videos like this, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more inspiration. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.